Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. Earlier we were discussed the very large number of the carbon compounds like alkene, alkyne, alkane, right? Hello group of the carbon compounds, right? Chloroethane, chlorobromine, then different functional group of the carbon compounds, right? Alcohol group of the carbon compounds, ketone group of the carbon compounds, aldehyde group of the carbon compounds, and carboxylic group of the carbon compounds. Out of this, today in this video, we'll discuss the two important carbon compounds. First one is the ethanol and second one is the ethanoic acid. So dear student, in this video we will discuss about the property structural formula of the ethanol, properties of the ethanol, use of the ethanol, right? And structural formula of the ethanoic acid, how we can form the ethanoic acid, how the ethanol is converted into the ethanoic acid, properties of the ethanoic acid, and then use of the ethanoic acid, right? So dear student, let us start with the first important carbon compound, that is the ethanol, right? So what is this molecular formula of the ethanol? You know that molecular formula of the ethanol is a C2H5OH. It is the carbon compound in the group of the alcohol, right? OH is the functional group of the alcohol, and C2H5, here two carbon, chain of the two carbon is there, so the name is the ethanol, right? Or we can say that the ethyl alcohol, right? We can name like this ethyl alcohol or a ethanol. So what is the structural formula of the ethyl alcohol or ethanol? So here molecular formula of the ethanol or ethyl alcohol is a C2H5OH, right? How the ethyl alcohol forms? What is the structural formula of ethyl alcohol or ethanol? So in the ethyl alcohol, two carbons are connected in a chain structure, right? And all the valency of the carbon is fulfilled by a hydrogen atom, right? And the one valency of the any one of the carbon is fulfilled by a oxygen OH, like this. So this one is the structural formula. So here hydrogen atom is there, right? Another this carbon, hydrogen atom is there, hydrogen atom is connected, hydrogen atom is connected, right? Hydrogen atom is connected to this carbon also, right? So this one is the structural C2H5OH, right? Structural formula of the ethyl alcohol, right? Understand how we can draw the structural formula of the ethyl alcohol? Let us see again how we can draw the structural formula of the ethyl alcohol. So in the ethyl alcohol, two carbon atom is there. So this two carbon atom is connected, joined with the single covalent bond, right? And all the other valency of the carbon atoms are fulfilled by a hydrogen atom, that is the ethane, right? So here all the valency of the both the carbon is connected with the single bond with the hydrogen atom, it is the ethane. But one of the hydrogen is removed and it is connected with the alcohol group like OH, right? So this one here, the OH is connected with this atom, either this atom, right, carbon atom. So any one of the carbon atom is makes a single bond with the OH, that is the ethyl alcohol, or the other hydrogen is left as it is. Here hydrogen atom is there, here also the hydrogen atom is there, Here also hydrogen atom, 3 hydrogen atom. So first carbon is makes a covalent bond with the 3 hydrogen atom. Second carbon is makes a covalent bond with the 2 hydrogen atom and 1 covalent bond with the oxygen atom. So this one is the structural formula of the ethyl alcohol. Understand? Now, what are the properties of the ethyl alcohol? So first one is the ethyl alcohol is a colorless liquid with a pleasant smell and burning taste. So ethyl alcohol, or we can say that the ethanol is a colorless liquid with the pleasant smell. Some smell will be occurring when we take a smell of the ethyl alcohol. It's a burning taste, right? So ethyl alcohol, or we can say that the ethanol is a colorless liquid with the pleasant smell and burning taste, right? Ethyl alcohol, ethanol is a soluble in a water. So when we added a ethyl alcohol or ethanol in a water, it will be a soluble in a water, right? So these two property is the important property of the ethanol. First one is the ethanol is a colorless liquid with the pleasant smell. The ethanol is a soluble in a water, right? Third is the chemical property, right? So ethanol react with the sodium to form the sodium ethoxide and the hydrogen. So when the ethanol C2H5OH ethanol react with the sodium Na, it forms the sodium ethoxide. What is the formula of the sodium ethoxide? C2H5ONH, and the hydrogen is removed from the ethanol. So how this reaction occurs? So if we consider the ethanol here, so let us understand this formula in the structural formula. If you considering a ethanol, this hydrogen atom is removed from the ethanol, and instead of this hydrogen atom, sodium atom is connected. So the formula is C2H5ONA, right? That is the sodium ethoxide. And balancing the equation, we need to add a 2, 2 and 2, right? Because the hydrogen atom removed from the ethanol, 2 hydrogen atom is removed from the 2 molecules of the ethanol, it forms the hydrogen gas, right? So ethanol react with the sodium atom to form a sodium ethoxide. The molecular formula of the sodium ethoxide is a C2H5ONA. So with the help of the structural formula, you can easily understand. So here the formula of the ethanol is there, and from this ethanol, one hydrogen atom is removed and the sodium atom is connected, right? It's a structural formula of the sodium ethoxide, right? Understand? Third one, fourth property is ethanol react with the hot concentrating H2SO4 to form the ethene and water. Concentrated H2SO4 is a dehydrating agent and removes water from the ethanol, right? So when the ethanol react with the hot concentrating, what do you mean by the concentrating H2SO4? Concentrating sulfuric acid, right? Concentrating sulfuric acid, H2SO4, that is the sulfuric acid. So ethanol react with the hot concentrating H2SO4 to form the ethene. So ethanol is converted into the ethene and the water. Concentrating H2SO4 is a dehydrating agent and remove the water from the ethanol. So this concentrating H2SO4 helps to remove the water from the ethanol, right? So the formula, the reaction will be like this: ethanol C2H5OH react with the concentrating H2SO4, it forms the ethene C2H4 and the water. This water from the ethanol is dehydrating by with the help of the H2SO4. So here the ethanol is converted into the ethene, right? The structural formula of the ethanol, you know that And the structural formula of the ethene also you know that. What is the structural formula of the ethene? Two carbon atom. In between these two carbon atom, double covalent bond is there, right? So in between these two carbon atom, double covalent bond is there, and other valency of the carbon atom is fulfilled by a hydrogen, right? So we can see that the formula of the ethene C2H4, right? So here this one is the reaction of the ethanol to the ethene, conversion of the ethanol to the ethene. So ethanol react with the hot concentrating sulfuric acid H2SO4 to form a ethene and the water. The water can be removed from the ethanol or dehydrating agent. If concentrating sulfuric acid is used as a dehydrating agent and remove the water from the ethanol, right? So dear student, understand this all the properties of the ethanol, or we can say that the ethyl alcohol. So first property, ethanol is a colorless liquid with the pleasant smell and the burning taste. Second property is it is soluble in a water. Third property, ethanol react with the sodium to form the sodium ethoxide, right? So reaction C2H5OH plus Na, C2H5ONA plus H2. Balancing this equation, we need to add 2 here and 2 here, right? Fourth property is the ethanol react with the hot concentrating sulfuric acid to form the ethene, right, and the water. Concentrating H2SO4 is dehydrating agent and remove the water from the ethanol. C2H5OH, that is the molecular formula of the ethanol, react with the concentrating H2SO4 to form the C2H4 plus water. So this water is removed or dehydrating with the help of the concentrating H2SO4, right? So what are the use of the ethanol? The use of the ethanol. Ethanol is used for making a alcoholic drink, right? Alcoholic drink, we use the ethanol in the alcohol. We use the alcoholic drinks like a thumbs up, Pepsi, and all the things. Ethanol is used. So ethanol is used to making a alcoholic drink. Ethanol is used as a solvent, right? It is used for making a medicine like a tincture, iodine, cough syrup, tonic, right? That all the time in the medical, in the medicine like a tincture, iodine, right, cough syrup, tonic, this medicine is, in this medicine ethanol is used. So these are the use of the ethanol, right? So understand, dear student, molecular formula of the ethanol, or the name of the ethanol, other name of the ethanol is the ethyl alcohol. Structural formula, property, and the use. So this point is a very important for the examination also, right? So next important carbon compound is a ethanoic acid, right? So let us see the properties of the ethanoic acid, structural formula of the ethanoic acid, and use of the ethanoic acid. So first one is the ethanoic acid. The molecular formula of ethanoic acid is CH3 C double bond OH, C double OH. It is also known as the acetic acid, right? It is also known as the acetic acid. So molecular formula CH3 C double bond OH. So COOH, that is the carboxylic group, is connected with the carbon atom, and the other valency of the carbon atom is fulfilled by the hydrogen. So how we can draw the structural formula of the ethanoic acid, or we can say that the acetic acid, right? So ethanoic acid is also known as the acetic acid. The molecular formula of the ethanoic acid is CH3COOH. So how we can draw the structure formula? So in the structural formula, two carbon atoms are connected with the single bond. This any one of the carbon atom is makes a double bond with the oxygen and the OH group, right? And the other carbon atoms are connected with the hydrogen. So here the molecular formula is the CH3COOH. That is the ethanoic acid. So two carbon atom, that is ethane, from ethane, it is the ethanoic acid, right? So now what are the properties of the ethanoic acid? Ethanoic acid is a colorless liquid with the pungent smell and the sour in the taste. So ethanoic acid is a sour in a taste, right? So ethanoic acid is also a colorless liquid with the pungent scent, pleasant smell. The ethanoic acid is soluble in a water, right? The solution of the 5% to the 8% ethanoic acid in a water is called the vinegar. Vinegar we use in our home also, right? So a solution of the 5% to the 8% ethanoic acid in the water is called the vinegar. So these are the three important properties of the ethanoic acid, or we can say that the acetic acid. Ethanoic acid is a colorless liquid with the pleasant smell and the sour in a taste, right? The ethanoic acid is soluble in a water. The 5% to the 8% soluble of the ethanoic acid in a water is called the vinegar, right? Now these two important words, esterification. What do you mean by the esterification? So fourth property is the esterification. Ethanoic acid react with the ethanol to form the ester ethyl ethanoate, right, in the presence of the concentrating H2SO4. So this property is called the esterification. So how the ester is formed? Ethanoic acid react with the ethanol to form the ester ethyl ethanoate, right? This name of the ester, other name of the ester is the ethyl ethanoate in the presence of the concentrating H2SO4, concentrating sulfuric acid. So what is the reaction of the esterification? Ethanoic acid CH3 C double bond OH react with the ethanol C2H5OH in the with the presence of concentrating H2SO4, it forms the ester CH3 C double O C2H5 ethyl ethanoate and the water. So this water is removed with the help of the dehydration of the with the help of the concentrating H2SO4. So this reaction between the carboxylic acid and the alcohol to form the ester is called the esterification, right? So what do you mean by the esterification? Reaction between the carboxylic acid and the alcohol to form a ester is called the esterification. And for example, here the carboxylic group, that is the ethanoic acid, react with the ethanol. If in the presence of the concentrating H2SO4, it forms the ester ethyl ethanoate CH3COO C2H5, that is the ethyl ethanoate, right? So the reaction between the carboxylic acid and the alcohol to form the ester is called the esterification. So understand what do you mean by the esterification? Esterification is the reaction between the carboxylic acid and the alcohol to form the ester. So this point is very important, that will ask in your examination, like what do you mean by the esterification? Explain the esterification with the help of the reaction. Second important property is the saponification. When an ester react with the sodium hydroxide solution, so ester formed by the reaction of the carboxylic group and the alcohol group react with the sodium hydroxide solution, the sodium salt of the carboxylic acid and the parent alcohol are formed. This reaction is called the saponification, right? So what do you mean by the saponification? When an ester react with the sodium hydroxide solution, the sodium salt of the carboxylic acid and the parent alcohol are formed. This reaction is called the saponification, right? So ester, how the ester forms? By the reaction of the carboxylic acid and the alcohol we form the ester, and this ester react with the sodium hydroxide solution, the sodium salt of the carboxylic acid and the parent alcohol is formed, and this reaction is called the saponification, right? So from the ester, from the carboxylic group we can form the alcohol also, right? Like this ethyl ethanoate react with the sodium hydroxide NaOH. So ethyl ethanoate react with the hydroxide sodium hydroxide to form the sodium acetate and ethanol. The reaction, what is the molecular formula of the ethyl ethanoate? CH3 C2H5 react with the sodium hydroxide NaOH. It forms the CH3COONA, that is the sodium acetate and alcohol. So this reaction is called the saponification, right? So when the ester react with the sodium hydroxide, it forms the sodium salt of the carboxylic acid and the alcohol. So ethyl ethanoate react with the sodium hydroxide to form the sodium acetate, right, and the ethanol. This reaction is called the saponification, right? Fifth property, ethanoic acid react with the base to form a salt and the water. So when the ethanoic acid CH3C11OH COOH react with the NaOH, it forms the sodium acetate. Sodium acetate CH3COONA plus H2O. So here the ethanoic acid react with the base to form a salt and the water. Ethanoic acid CH3COOH plus NaOH gives the CH3COONA sodium acetate and the water, right? So understand, ethanoic acid react. Next and last property of the ethanoic acid react with the carbonates and the hydrogen carbonates to form a salt, water and the carbon dioxide, right? So here the ethanoic acid CH3COOH react with the sodium carbonate Na2CO3. It gives the sodium acetate CH3COONA, water and the carbon dioxide. Similarly, ethanoic acid CH3COOH react with the sodium hydrogen carbonate NaCO3, gives the CH3COONA, sodium acetate, water and the carbon dioxide. So these are the important properties of the ethanoic acid. So dear student, I hope that you understand both the carbon compounds ethanol and the ethanoic acid, properties of the ethanol and the properties of the ethanoic acid. Thank you very much for watching my video.